Hi folks, today we are at the Bombay Sapphire Distillery in Leverstock, which is approximately 1 hour drive from Reading. And today we're going to have a look in an organized sort of tour by the kind permission of the Bombay Sapphire Distillery. The distillery is situated on River Test with a beautiful clear water and all the buildings here. In a short while we'll be going through the reception and the entrance to the gin and mill. That's the reception area, and we'll be done here in about 10 minutes. That's the bar area.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are here. Thanks so much. This is the mill bar before the reception. We go through that. Through here, also there's a shop. And the visit today surrounds around this. I'm sure you are familiar with the name. And of course, this one. And last but not least, that one. Let's go to the gin shop before our reception. The gin shop is here. Variety of product here because it's made right around the corner. You got floral, you got pine, interesting variety together with various other goodies, gift boxes, and of course the famous Bombay Sapphire. Beautifully wrapped up in preparation for Christmas. A small tiny tree. And of course, huge product and variety. Good morning. Back to the reception. Waiting for escort. Come and take us away.
So take a glass. We always pack it with ice.
Take a glass, pack it with ice.
We always put plenty of ice in. The more ice, the less chance you've got of melting.
Yep.
So
You want one?
here's the ice well here.
Yes, please. I'll have one.
Right.
Okay.
And aren't you going to have one with us?
Oh gosh, no, I wish, but I can't.
Plenty of ice.
There we go.
Is
You've
that
got it
proper?
now. Yeah, you've got it.
That's the sign of the alcoholic.
Righty. On over.
Right.
Okay. Right, so what we've got here is the Bombay Sapphire Sunset. We use 13 botanicals in the sunsets. I'll tell you about 10 of them when we go out on tour. But the other three, white cardamom, turmeric and mandarin. So it gives you a nice orangey, white cardamom, yeah. It's a lovely, lovely spice. It's nice and warming. There's our traditional, which we make with 10 botanicals. And then we've got over here
That's new.
the Bramble, lovely distilled gin, infused with raspberries and blackberries. It's not a sweet gin. It's got quite a nice tart note to it. Very, very pleasant.
Right.
So your choice. You've got it button.
Press
There
the
we
button.
go. And out it pops.
You go for the sunset because that one I have plenty.
Okay. I'll try this one
Are you on
because
holiday?
I haven't tried that before. So here we go. And press the button.
Did you? Oh, right.
Excellent. That's mine.
Slice of lemon. With the sunset, a slice of orange and star anise.
I love it in my cooking, but I've never
Yeah,
in my
oh, yeah.
cooking. All right. There you go. They're
And
all
then-
mine now. Ah.
And there's your fever tree. We recommend.
Otherwise it's from my cooking.
And then just fold it in gently, the tonic.
Right.
When you've done it, okay.
Here we go.
Excellent.
Half for you and half for me.
There we go.
No, I have to put more in there. The color
Is
is
that
not
Indian tonic water, Robert?
Yes, it is. Yep, yeah.
Okay.
Fever tree. Yep. There's
Fantastic.
lovely natural quinine in the fever tree.
right. Wait, Robert, this color is not nice. Let me just have a bit more.
Oh, that's
One
lovely.
moment.
You know what it is? It's the lemon which is just giving you that.
So what should I do?
Just fold like that. There you go.
Uh-huh. Cardamom.
Cardamom. And this is one with star anise. There you go. Excellent. I'm going to go see the cinema, the film about
Take this row here.
Take this roll there. All right.
Yep, lovely.
Mind the step.
Yeah, mind the steps.
Excuse me, mind the step.
Yep.
You have indeed.
There you go.
So, what I always do, what I ask you a little question before you sit down and settle down, enjoy your gins before I put the film on, and I'm going to put the film on last, only 5 minutes, because when the film finishes, the door's open. I want to keep the heat in, so I'm going to show the film last moment.
Right.
So by the end of the film, we're going to be moving straight out, so you need to finish. Okay.
Me?
London Dry is a classification that we give to gin, which is prepared in a certain way. Okay, it must have a minimum strength of 37.5 alcohol by volume. It must be crystal clear, good clarity, and nothing must be added after that distillation.
Right.
So therefore, with the sunset, what we're doing is the flavouring is done during the distillation. We add nothing after that distillation.
Right.
With the Bramble, we then flavour it after distillation. We then infuse it with fruits.
Right.
Okay, and we use raspberries and blackberry as an infusion.
Right.
So that is a distilled gin. That is a London Dry. The gin you see up there, the Presse,
London one.
Citron Presse. Again, it's a distilled gin because we infuse after.
After.
distillation. Yeah, absolutely. And it states it on the label. Like it states on the label, London Dry Distilled Gin.
Take me with both.
This was a totally new creative expression in gin, as inside this blue bottle was a very special liquid. Using a recipe that dates back to 1761, Bombay Sapphire was the first London dry gin to 100% vapor infuse its ingredients, distilling an aromatic balance of 10 natural botanicals sustainably sourced from the four corners of the world. The provenance and quality of these natural ingredients, all hand-selected by our dedicated growers and our master of botanicals, is the reason we were the first gin to put them on our bottle, celebrating the worldly ingredients inside, a mark of quality and craft. Bombay Sapphire shone in classic and contemporary cocktails, providing the perfect canvas for creativity with its bright, invigorating taste. From the Collins to the Martini, it was an overnight success. Our iconic blue bottle became a fixture in bars, cities and homes around the globe. Infused with imagination, Bombay Sapphire has put creativity at the heart of its DNA for nearly 40 years, supporting talented artists, designers and creators, giving them a unique platform to express their original ideas, like reimagining the ultimate martini glass, celebrating the best new art and design talent, finding the world's most imaginative bartender, illuminating a city with awe-inspiring art, or building the world's most sustainable gin distillery. Bombay Sapphire is a champion of creativity, leading the gin industry and giving you a taste of the exotic and unexpected. Part of our mission to be the world's most sustainable gin. A delicate balance of old and new, from the foundations of a 1,000-year-old paper mill to the most spectacular glass houses that have ever existed. The history and the future of gin is here for you to discover. Welcome to the most creative gin in the world. Welcome to the Bombay Sapphire Distillery.
So let me tell you a little bit of history first of all. So the first record that we've got of this site is in fact 903 AD.
You're joking me?
903 AD, and we had that record in our archives, and it was a corn mill.
Oh.
And the second record that we've got of this site is in fact in 1086, and Laverstoke Mill was mentioned in the Domesday Book.
Gosh, it's going back to being before
Oh
Christ.
yeah. But let me fast forward you a little bit to very early part of the 17th century. Talk to you about a gentleman called Henry Portal. Henry was a young Frenchman living with his family over in France. Now Henry and his family were Huguenots, and during that period of time they were persecuted for their religious beliefs. Henry and his family escaped over here, and they arrived in Southampton, which is, you know, not far from us here. Henry undertook a paper milling apprenticeship.
Right.
Enjoyed it very much and decided he wanted his own paper mill, so he moved up the county, just up the road from here, at Bear Mill, just outside Whitchurch, where he opened up his paper mill. Now the type of paper that Henry was milling was high quality, high grade security paper. Paper which could not only be used for security documents, but also for banknotes. Now, in 1718, Henry moved here. He moved here because he needed bigger building work. We'll talk about the buildings in a moment.
Sure.
But the big contract that Henry won in 1724 was for the Bank of England, was milling the paper for the Bank of England.
No.
Yeah. And this was a contract which lasted for over 250 years.
Wow.
Milling the paper
blood.
for the banknotes for the Bank of England. In actual fact, 123 different countries had their banknote. The last banknote paper milled here was for the Western Samoan government in 1965. However, they moved from here, but they didn't move very far. They moved down to Overton, just down the road. Paper, and predominantly the paper they mill for this country is in fact our passport paper. Now,
Interesting.
when the Portals moved out of here, the site fell into a bit of disrepair, and we acquired it in 2010. We were actually producing Bombay Sapphire up in Warrington in the northwest of England. Northwest of England. And it was not a great place to be in. It was on an industrial estate. It didn't have the visitor centre, and they were sharing a distillery with other brands. So this site was acquired, and with a lot of investment, we started distilling here in 2013, and the visitor centre opened in 2014. Now, this building here actually opened in 1719. There's the stone, and that's where we were in the admissions hall. That's where you arrived. In fact, it was his glazing. Rebuilt again by one of his successors, and there's our stone up there, 2014. Now, this building here on my right, these lovely These cottages are very unusual because the windows that they have are the only windows that they've got. These were built in 1842 by John Paul. And the reason why they only have so few windows, which you can see, is that period of time we had window tax. So the more windows that you had, the more tax that you paid. Yeah. Now, that building across there, the big 3-story building over there, is the mill house, built in 1901. And that was for the mill manager at the time. Lovely building, lovely residence. Big car park was in fact his garden. So it was a very, very nice residence. And he could overlook his mill, and he also could overlook this was.
Why
Now,
India House?
I'm going to tell you. Because one of the contracts that the Portals had won was actually in 1915 was milling the paper for the Bank of India for the Indian rupee. Now they didn't have a building big enough to store all that paper. That contract went from 1915 to 2010. Very recently only came to its conclusion. Milling all that paper for the Indian rupee.
Right.
Nothing to do with Bombay Sapphire, but wow, what a coincidence to have a building which is called Around the World.
You're mixing all the cocktails and everything. You have to have a bit of gin, you know?
I know.
Robert, what's that number 2?
That is just when we
You
first
just go
opened.
spend a penny.
Yeah, when we first opened, they were actually. You used to press the button on there. They used to give you a running commentary on the site.
Oh.
Now, not permitted to walk around on your own because it is a working distillery. So they haven't been taken away as yet. The Wick is very well known in the design world, but we don't know his name, but we know his work. The Route Master buses in London, the rounder buses, they're designed by Thomas Heatherwick. The 2012 Olympic cauldron, you know, Thomas Heatherwick. And very recently, our late Queen's Platinum Jubilee, when she pressed that button and the Tree of Life lit up, that was Thomas Heatherwick as well. Now, we showcase our botanicals in there. We don't grow our own botanicals. We need 150,000 tons of botanicals. We have a master of botanicals. He's based in Switzerland. He comes, he arranges for all the botanicals to be sourced from all around the world, and they come to us in a processed state. You'll get an opportunity to see these. And it turns it into a heat source. And we're using local chipwood from the local estates, so to try and keep our costs down, and again to be kind to the planet, so we're not using gas or we're not using the
So this
coal.
is the only boiler you got on site?
Yes. There we go. Oh, I've been waiting to get in here. Oh, isn't that lovely?
This reminds me of home.
I'm sure it does. Okay, so in here we got 3 of the botanicals we use for the production of Bombay Sapphire, and these come from a tropical climate. And the first one is in fact the cassia tree from India. It is a type of, from the cinnamon family. Comes from Indochina. Vietnam, Cambodia we use, ours comes from. And it's much more rounded and much more wholesome than cinnamon. And we use the bark from the cinnamon tree. And there's an example of a...
Very young.
It's a very young one, yeah. But they're in a very fussy plant. You can't move them. They die.
Very superstitious. They like the spot, don't touch it.
Exactly. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's that?
This is the cubeb berry from Indonesia.
Is it like the pepper?
It is from the peppercorn family.
it's like a pepper.
Absolutely. It is from the peppercorn family.
Right.
And it's a very similar aroma, however, what it's got, a tropical climate, is the grains of paradise. Grains of paradise, again, from the peppercorn family, from Ghana. Very, very hot pepper. If you chew the seed, it's very hot in your mouth.
Yummy.
Sometimes it's called alligator chocolate.
Yeah. Give it pepper.
Okay, lovely. Gift to Mary Pickford from her then husband. Mary Pickford was a superstar of the silent movies, and her husband, Douglas Fairbanks, very well-known actor in those days too, gave it to her as a gift. So we put it on our bottles. So we had the Queen Victoria, we had 1985, and guess what? We still had 1761.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, the Queen's head was now surrounded with that Star of India, and our bottle colour was changed to blue. And that's how we got to Bombay.
Yeah.
By the way, these two houses, the plant houses, this one and that one, I've been told they're just for the show, just to promote the advertisement of the company.
Botanicals in here which we use for production of Bombay Sapphire. First one is the
Just the almond.
bitter almonds. Yeah, it's a very young one
Very
because
sad.
it's not looking great at the moment. Processed cyanide, but it's taken out of the kernel. Very expensive botanical.
Which one is it? That one?
Lovely purple flower when they flower. Now, the orris root, very interesting, has no aromatical use. What its job is the retention of flavours. It ensures that, so you can keep a bottle of gin as long as you want, open it at a time, as many times you want. It will always taste as it was on day one. Orris root is used by perfume houses for exactly the same reason, for the retention of the aroma. Now, the more orris root you put into a perfume, the more expensive it becomes, because the aroma. Juniper, very, very important in gin production. Our juniper comes from Tuscany. Very, very important. We get otters coming across from the estate over here.
Right.
Now that estate is Laverstoke Estate. That's owned by Jody Scheckter, the ex-Formula One racing driver.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
These are the botanicals that we have, which we got in their process state. So let's just have a look at them anyway. So the first two let's talk about is the two extra botanicals we added into that recipe to make that Bombay Sapphire. And these are the cubeb berries. This is what you do is just grind this up, you see. We use it as a seed. Grind some into your hands and just warm it. And you smell it. It's gorgeous. Now this one, the grains of paradise. This one is the hot pepper from Ghana.
It's a different level.
Chocolate. You smell like chocolate.
Right.
It's chocolate. Okay, so those two there.
Do you know what? I've never seen this way.
Have you? Lovely, lovely botanical.
Juniper is a family of black pepper.
Yeah, it's a pepper. But it smells like citron. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's die for. Oh, yes.
These are all herbs and spices
Yeah,
used in the manufacture
Absolutely expensive.
and distillation process
It's
of
got
the
a
gin.
lovely woody, earthy smell. You know, one of the reasons that we use Angelica root, first of all, it's flavouring, but it's also a stabiliser.
Oh, the pepper flower that we have in our garden, that's the root. But I didn't realize.
What are
You know,
those?
infusion baskets. This is where we put our botanicals in there. And this is the proportion of botanicals we use.
Artist Thomas there has those wider shoulders, and Mary has her gin-bearing hips. However, they do have a lot of similarities. They both run about a 6-hour distillation, and in that time produce 2,500 litres of double-strength gin. So that's about a quarter of the capacity of the two up in India house. They are also both made of copper, and there's a few reasons why we use copper. It's great at conducting heat, and heat is really important in distillation. It's also antibacterial, so these stills basically clean themselves, and it's very malleable, so we can make all of the shapes we need for the stills. It doesn't really matter what.
This is the modern real deal, okay?
Yeah.
Just have a peek through. This is where it's pumping. Victoria.
larger.
Why, we got Thomas, we got Mary, now we got Victoria.
Victoria named after the Queen.
Queen, yeah,
And
obviously.
Henry named
Yeah.
after Henry.
Henry.
Surprisingly, there are no bottling facilities at these locations. What happens is, from these vats, about 80% of alcohol, gin, pure gin, is produced and is transported via tankers, very special tankers, which are highly inflammable liquid in that, is transported to the Scotland area where it's bottled. From there, different varieties of Bombay Sapphires are produced and bottled for the marketing.